Hey guys, another non-Triumph video today. Today we're gonna do something different, and I'm gonna film it because I'm assuming that there are people out there who want to do the same thing. So I'm gonna show you on this Ford F150. It's 2009 F150. It has the factory radio, and it's lovely radio, or it's been a lovely radio for the last like 10 years ago. But unfortunately it doesn't meet today's standards. So when I want to play something from my phone, I have to connect this little thing to my phone through Bluetooth, and then this transmits FM signal, and then the radio can catch this FM signal. But many times there are other radio stations in that frequency, and it's making a mess, and it's not something that we want to do, right? So we want to change it to something more modern with Wi-Fi, with Bluetooth, and all these things that we use on a daily basis today. But you know, it's not that easy because the dash is not designed. Hold on, let me take this out now. The dash is not designed to accept an aftermarket radio, so we're gonna have to get a new panel for here. Actually, I've got everything already, so I'm gonna show you what I bought. So I've got three things here from Amazon. All these I got from Amazon, and I might put the links here, even though it's from Canada, but it costed me 60, 40, so 100 and 140, I think, so 240 Canadian dollars. And now I'll show you what this is. So this is the panel, this is the radio, and this is rear view camera on what is it called, on a license plate frame. So I'm gonna show you everything separately. So I'm gonna take everything out. Here at home I don't have my tripods and stands for camera, so I'm gonna have to do a handheld video here, so I'm sorry if it is shaky. Or so this is what's in the first package. This is the actual panel. So you see it has still the holes for the AC controls here, and there are three little buttons at the top for the four-way flashers and other things, and the opening for the radio. However, this is opening for the standard double-DIN radio, and what we've got is a little bit different, so we're gonna have to modify this a little bit, but we'll see. So also in this package there's this little drawer and some other plastic. This is in case you install a single DIN radio, and then you can have a little drawer underneath, but we're not gonna use that. Also in the package there's adapter wires. So these adapters, they're matching the original wiring for the F150, so that's good. They can adapt to whatever we need for the radio. We're gonna have to solder on the other end of this the connector for this radio that I'm gonna show you later, and adapter for the antenna, and also some other connectors here that we're not gonna use, and screws that we might need. So that's the first package. This is the second package, which is the actual radio, which you see how thick it is because it doesn't have a CD, and that allows it to be much more compact than the original stereos. It has Wi-Fi, GPS, and all these kinds of stuff. But the thing is, it is 9-inch, it's not 7. Even though it's really compact at the back, it's bigger than the double-DIN stereo, which is good because we want a bigger screen. So it also comes with the rear view camera, which though we're not gonna use because I bought this one. I'm gonna show you later, but you can go get away with this one if you want. And it has all the required wires, including GPS antenna and the connector and stuff like that. So this is the connector that we have to solder to the adapter that we bought. So that's the second package. And this is the third package. It's a license plate frame with integrated camera in it, and it also has the night vision thing, which actually really works because I have this on my Ford Escape. I have one of these and it works great. I can see very clear at night, so that's why I decided to buy one more of these. It's like, I think $40 I paid for it. So that's gonna be the last thing that we need to install. But first we're gonna install everything inside the dash. We have to make sure that we are able to install this radio in this hole, because now it doesn't fit. So we have to make the hole bigger And I know that depth-wise it's gonna fit for sure, because this thing here has much more depth than this. So depth-wise we're fine, just around, like, it's really hard to do it one-handed here. The width is fine. The height is also fine, because we have enough room for the buttons on the top and enough room for the buttons on the bottom. So all we have to do is we have to make this hole bigger, so this can drop all the way in. Not by much, but it needs to become bigger. Okay, so if you look at the profile here, we need to be from here to here. That needs to be our width, and the height, I'm gonna go all the way to here and here. So this way, this is gonna be our mounting surface. So we're gonna measure here, and it needs to be 7.5 by 4.25. Yeah, 7.5 by 4.25, and then we're gonna make separate holes for these little tabs here, because we will need them to fasten it. Right now it is 6.75 by less than 4, like 3 7/8 maybe. So I'm gonna mark it, and we're gonna pull out the Dremel, and we're gonna cut it off. All right, so I marked it. These are the lines where we have to cut it. I made it a little bit too small first, so I drew another line, and here too. So that's 4.5 by 4.25 by 7.5. A little bit bigger actually. I drew it a little bit bigger, so doesn't matter, because there's a rim of the stereo that's gonna cover it. And now with our Dremel tool, we're gonna cut it off. This is the idea. We're not plugged in. It works so much better. It works so much better when it is plugged in actually. Okay. So this is the idea. Anyway, you get the idea, right? So we cut it out, and we are almost there now. It almost fits. The only thing is now we have to make those little notches for here, so we can drop it completely in. So I cut it out, and I cut those little notches here to go around the screws. The thing is, I flipped it upside down first, and I made these notches here, so that was a mistake, but good thing they are covered. So now the only thing is we have to find screws for here, so it can hold it down, and I think these little guys will work. The only problem is I already drilled this one a little bit bigger, because I had these screws, but they were too big. So we're gonna see what we're gonna do here. For the bottom, maybe we're gonna use these. All right, so it is. So I used this screw and this screw here, and these at the bottom, and it is. That's how it's gonna be. It's sitting outside, of course, but that's perfectly fine with me. Absolutely, I don't see any issue with that. I can live with that. Okay, so now let's see who lives here. So to take this apart, there's this rubber that can come off first, and then there are two screws here that are 9/32. When you undo this, you can pop this panel out a little bit. So I'm gonna pull these out, and I'm gonna show you the rest. This panel is held by these two, and these just pop out like this. You don't need to take them entirely out. Oh God, try to do it one-handed here, it's not easy. Okay, that's how they come out. And now this panel should come out too. There you go. So now we can start unplugging everything that's plugged in the back, and don't worry about the connectors. They are all different. You can't mix them up. Okay, I need my both hands for that. Okay, I'm forgetting here at the bottom that there is also this one screw. So when you pop this out, see there is one more screw here. We have to remove that as well. So now we have to remove the stereo from here, the old one, with these 4 screws that are again 9/32. I'm gonna do that, and we're gonna see what we have to do with the wires at the back. The screws are out, and now it should be able to come out completely. And these are the connectors in the back. I don't know what this one is. Oh, that's the antenna. Oh, one is, I guess, the Sirius antenna, because it has a satellite radio, which we're not gonna use. So we're gonna use just the regular antenna, and the other 2 connectors I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do with them once I unplug them. All right, so these are our adapters that we ordered, and the big one goes here, of course. And then we have a smaller one that goes here, and then we have even an adapter for the antenna, because this antenna won't fit our radio. So that's why we have this adapter that goes into this, and then we have a regular connector for radio. So now what we have to do is solder all these wires to, when we plug them in there, the other end needs to hook up to the radio connector that is here, and everything is color coded, so they should match. When I start soldering them, I'm gonna show you, but also here on the bag it says which color is what. So the yellow one is always, these are standard, they're for all radio and stereo equipment makers. They follow this color coding, so everything should be matching. Always the yellow one is the constant power, which is for the memory of the radio. This always keeps the memory live. Then the red one is when it's live, when the ignition switch is on. The black is always a ground, and everything else. So I'm gonna show you more when I start soldering them. Let's see what's coming with the stereo. So we have a couple of harnesses here. So in the first place we have the power and the speakers. So here we have the same as on the other side, where we already read them. The yellow one for memory, the red one for accessory powers when the ignition is on, the black one is the ground, key 2, key, I don't know what these are, we're gonna have to read a little bit more. The gray, there are 4 couples here, so they're gray, white, green and purple. These are for the 4 speakers. So the white and the gray are for the front speakers, the green and the purple are for the rear speakers. And in each couple there's one solid color and one with black stripe. The black stripe is always the ground, the solid color is the positive. The same here for the white, we have one solid white and white with a black stripe, and same for the green, same for the purple. The blue one is always output 12 volts, so when the radio is on, it sends power on the blue one, and that goes to a power antenna if you have on the car, or goes to the trigger on the amplifier that turns the amplifier on. This is back, I'm assuming the pink one is for the rear view camera. So when the radio sees 12 volts on this purple wire, it turns the rear view camera mode on. That's it. And I'm not sure about what's with the 2 orange ones, but we're gonna read them. Key 2, I'm not sure about that too. So that's one harness. Then we have 2 USB extensions here, and how they go. Okay, that's how they go. So we can use them both if we want, like that. And then all the audio wires here, inputs and outputs, and they get connected here. And we're gonna need those because we need two audio outputs, auxiliary right out and auxiliary left out. So these are the ones that we need for the amplifier the original amplifier of the vehicle. So these are gonna be connected to this one, to these ones. So this is the other plug that goes to this little one. So this is going to be connected here, and the blue ones are the ones that activate the amplifier, so they're going to be connected to this blue one. And there's this single one here that goes over there. That's for the rear view camera video signal. Can't even plug it in. Anyways, that's for the rear view camera connector. So let's go and solder all these, and we're gonna go through them again once they are soldered. Okay, so everything is soldered. The two connectors are soldered together, and I'm gonna plug them in now, and I'm gonna show you what is what. Okay, one of them is plugged in. The other one though is a little bit trickier because it doesn't match. That's weird. I have to look it up a little bit. So now, as it is, it's gonna work, but it's not gonna, the amplifier is not gonna work because these are directly to the speakers. All right, so after a short research, I realized something wrong here, that this is not the amplifier connector, because this track apparently doesn't have an amplifier and subwoofer. So this is some data wires here, for, I'm guessing for this screen here, or I don't know what, but this connector is not going to be used, and this one also we can't use it because this normally connects to the amplifier connector, but in this track there's no amplifier. So anyways, we can get rid of this one, and we're gonna go ahead and do the rest of the wiring. The problem is here though, that this red wire, which we said is the ignition wire, so it needs to be live when the ignition turns on. So that's the, if you look at it closely, that's the first one close to the yellow and the black one. And if you go in the other side, there's nothing here, and we have no power, we have no ignition power. But that's not a problem, because I looked up a little bit with my multimeter, and I found that this third wire here, the so this is the yellow with the blue stripe, has ignition power, which means when the ignition key is on, this becomes live. So we can piggyback from here to the red wire here, and we're gonna be fine. So let me explain the rest of the wiring here. Hold on, I'm gonna cut this off so it's not on our way. All right, so I cut the blue wires off here, and now we only have one connector that we disconnected from the factory stereo, goes into the adapter. The other end of the adapter we soldered to the connector of the radio. And now we're gonna go here through all the wires, and I'll show you what is what. White solid with white with black stripe, one speaker, that's one of the front speakers, I think front left. The green couple is one of the rear speakers. Then we have a purple couple, that's one of the rear speakers. Then we have a gray couple, that's another of the front speakers. And then what's left here is the yellow is constant power for the memory, red is ignition power, which we said on the other side has nothing, so we have to power it somehow. Blue wire is return from the stereo, so it's only live when the stereo is on. This goes to power antenna or to trigger an amplifier, which we don't have in this car. And the black is the ground. Then we have this orange, and on this side it's orange with white stripe. This is the illumination, which means when you turn on the lights, your switches should come on. And there's a few more wires that we didn't do anything with. So this pink one, there was absolutely no instructions on the packaging. If you look at it here, and even there was a little piece of paper inside, which said a little bit more information, but there's no anything about pink wire, so I don't know what this pink wire is on the adapter. The brown wires, what did it say here? Brown, it says mute, not used, so I don't know why there are 4 of them, but they are not used. And the orange with black is the ground for the illumination. So the original stereo needed the orange with white for power and orange with black for ground for the illumination. On this stereo though, we only need one orange for the illumination. It needs only power, ground it takes from somewhere else. On the radio side, there are also two unused wires, key 1 and key 2. I don't know what these are. I guess these are for steering wheel controls or something like that, so they're not gonna be used. And the last wire here is the pink wire, on not this pink on this side, the pink on this side, on the radio side, which is for the backup camera. And I already soldered this one to my backup camera harness. You see this here? So this wire is going to become live when the camera comes on. So the other end of this wire goes to the backup camera, and this will be connected to the reverse light on the tail light. So when I switch to reverse, the reverse light on my tail lights come on. That's going to make this wire live. The other end of this wire is going to give signal to the radio to switch to reverse camera mode. So that's everything. And of course the yellow is the video signal. So this one we have to plug into where did it go? So it plugs in here. Okay, and now this connects to this. Oops, one-handed. Not really sure how I'm gonna do it, but anyways, this I'm sorry guys. So these two connect together, and that's it. And in this case, all this audio here, we don't need it, so I'm gonna get rid of it. All right, so I cut the red wire from here. Now there's nothing connected to this, so I shouldn't be worried. There's no it's not gonna shorten because, as you know, there's nothing on this side of this. So I cut the red wire from here and solder it directly here. This still allows me to plug this in here. And now we have the plug for the radio, we have the plug for the rear view camera, we have the antenna, and one more thing we shouldn't forget is the satellite antenna, the GPS antenna, which we need to hook up so we can plug in the radio. And then we're gonna mount this whole thing, and we're gonna work on the rear view camera. So this is gonna go to the rear view camera. Okay, so I put this here, and the other end of the wire is coming here now, and now we can connect everything to the radio and all the other connectors that were back down, that were connected to this panel, and assemble this. Okay, everything is hooked up to the radio. So this is the main connector with this red wire, the backup camera connected here, the two USBs, I run them down there, that's where they're gonna live for now. Later we're gonna see, we can glue them somewhere here so they can be more safe. And then the antenna with the adapter hooked up to the old antenna, and the last thing is the GPS antenna going down there. So these are the stereo connections. Now I'm gonna hook up everything else, the switches here, the controls for the AC, and we're gonna assemble this part, and then we're gonna deal with the backup camera. Okay, turn the ignition on. It's coming on. Let's see now the radio. So radio. Okay, I'm gonna turn it off right away because this video is gonna be monetized, so we don't want to be, wow, there's so many pages open, why? Anyway, so it is a small tablet. I'm not gonna go through all the features here. Like a tablet, you have everything that you need here, Wi-Fi and stuff like that. So let's see where we can run this wire to, so we can get it to the backup camera. All right, so I run the wire from the radio all the way to the backup camera where it's gonna be on the license plate frame. And don't ask me how, because it's raining. It was raining and it's wet around, so don't ask me how I did that, but I did it anyways. So now on the backup camera we have two connectors, and one is for the video that we connect to this. Again, one-handed here, trying to do it. Okay, and the other one is for power. So power for the backup camera we put here. So this is the harness that came with the camera. So that's how it is. And now we have to run it sideways to the backup light here, which is this one. So we have to hook it up here to power and ground, and that's gonna power up the camera. But also, I don't know why this is not designed like that, but also for whatever reason this is not designed like that, we're gonna have to piggyback this red wire to this red wire like that. Photoshop it in, and when we put in reverse, this wire here is gonna power up our camera, and in the meantime it's gonna power up that little red wire, which is gonna give a signal to the radio to switch to backup camera mode. All right, so black and red wires are piggybacked to the backup light, and they come out here, and then they plug into this connector, and this other red wire is piggybacked to the red wire here, and this is the backup camera. So now in theory, if we turn on the truck and put in reverse, we should see the backup camera coming on. So just gonna turn the ignition on, put in reverse, and yes, there's this little guy staring at us. Hi, Jacob. Hi, look at the camera. Look at the camera and say hi. Hi. Okay, so it works. Okay, so what's left now is just to push these wires in, tidy them up underneath, go for a little nap over there and tidy up all the wires underneath, install the frame here with the license plate, and put back the tail light, and we're gonna be done. All right, so the camera is installed here, tail light is finished. Beautiful dogs. Anyway, and this is the old stereo. I'm just gonna keep it just in case. And this is the other fascia, the old fascia, which technically we could have cut and installed our radio on it instead of buying a new one, except I want to keep this one because one day if I decide to sell the truck, I might take my stereo out and install the old one. So anyways, that's it. And there's just one more thing that we have to do. Peel this. Done. All right, just a quick addition. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. So when I hooked up the power and ground to the bulb for the LED light, for whatever reason I was losing ground when I was pressing the brake pedal. So the camera was working when I switch in reverse, but if I hold the brake pedal, the camera was turning off. So what I did, I just left the power connected to the power wire for the backup light here, and the ground I connected to actual ground here. So that works fine now. So just a quick addition because I don't want you to have the same problem like I did. So that's everything, guys. Thanks for watching, and I hope that this video is going to be helpful for some of you. Whoever wants to install a stereo, they can easily understand what the wiring is and what they have to cut and what they have to connect and stuff like that. So anyways, thanks for watching guys, thanks for commenting and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.